On the news, President BUHARI to meet service chiefs. Doctor strike continues as court adjourns case till September 15. And Nigeria's inflation rate drops to 17.38% in July. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogrinde. President Muhammadu Buhari will on Thursday meet with security chiefs at the presidential villa, Abuja, to review the security situation in the country. Special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, in a statement issued on Tuesday, explained that President Buhari will be brought up to speed on developments about the security situation in the country, while plans to bring a decisive end to the challenges will also be formulated at the meeting. President Buhari returned to Abuja last Friday after 18 days in London, during which he attended an education summit and visited his doctors. Meanwhile, abductors of students and staff of the College of Agriculture and Animal Science, Bakura in Zamfara State, have reportedly demanded 350 million naira ransom. The provost of the college, Habibu Minsanari, disclosed this in an interview on Tuesday. He said a total of 20 people were abducted, including 15 students, 4 staff and a driver. The gunmen had stormed the institution at midnight on Sunday and kidnapped the students and staff of the college. During the attack, the gunmen killed 2 watchmen and a police officer. Vice President OSINBAJO has urged the youth arm of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, to build a stronger membership base from the grassroots to mobilize young Nigerians across the country to join the party beginning from the ward level. OSINBAJO made this call when he hosted members of the APC National Youth Lobby Group who were at the presidential villa to present the report of the party's youth conference held in June. The vice president said that the APC youth group is more relevant than ever and has the capacity to move the party to greater heights.
His key contribution, his key message is that he's always there and available, that he is going to be an advocate of young people in the party to make sure that there's inclusion. We met with the Chief of Staff to the President. We'll be meeting the President later in the month or next month as well. We are meeting with other stakeholders and they're all saying the same thing, that look, it is time for young people to be included, that inclusion has to be very visible, that people have to see from afar that this is truly a progressive party that is youth-centric in including young people, not only in the benefits of what the administration is doing, but in decision-making processes as well. We have a president, a vice president, and leaders of the party who are very open to this idea of getting the future of the party being part of the present as well, so that we secure the future. I say this all the time, that you can't decide the future without those who are going to live in it. So young people are most likely going to be the ones who are going to live in the future. They might as well be part of the process of the decisions that will shape that future. And the party leaders, the president especially, and the vice president today, after what we've seen and heard from him, are ready and open to this important point.
Reactions have been trailing President Muhammadu Buhari's assent to the Petroleum Industrial Bill. On Monday, Buhari signed the PIB into law, ending a long await since early 2000s. But some stakeholders have expressed their discontent with the president's move, especially regarding the 3% provision for the host communities development trust fund. Earlier, I spoke to an oil and gas expert, but they showed me on the issue, and I began by asking him how the complaints about the 3% for oil-producing communities can be handled.
The issue is that the 30% that they're talking about is 30% of profit for the NNPC. As of today, the NNPC is a loss-making machine. So that 30% is actually 30% of zero. But the NNPC will not be a loss-making machine forever. So it is when it becomes profitable that you now start talking about the 30% which goes into the frontier basins. That's on one side. Then on the 3% that we're talking about, we are talking about close to 3 times the amount of money that is available to NDDC as of today. So while technically, aesthetically, it does not make a lot of sense for you to say they reduced it from 10% to 3% politically, but in reality, it is still a lot of money. So what we are saying is that 3 times the amount of money available to the NDDC is now going to be made available for host communities for usage. We need to understand that host community funds is different from the frontier funds. The frontier funds is investment into the oil field, but the host community funds is for use in the host community to develop the host community infrastructure or any which way they choose. So there's more money for them. That's in addition to the NDDC, that's in addition to the 13% derivation, and that's in addition to the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs. So it may not be what they want, but it is significant steps forward.
Now, some stakeholders have alluded to the fact that President Buhari's signing of the PIB into law will have an effect on the pump price of petrol. Is this something we should expect?
I think one of the good things about the PIB is that it will allow for greater transparency. Simply because the landing cost is in dollars does not necessarily mean it will be at a higher price. So the first thing that needs to happen is that these figures that they are talking about needs to be x-rayed. So we are not just going to take their words for it. We are going to ask them to provide these figures, and then we will compare it with international prices. I mean, the cost of transportation is international. The cost of vessels is international. The cost of crude is international. The cost of refining is international. So when they bring their own figures, we will calculate the figures for refining, the figures for crude, the figures for transportation, add it up. It's simple mathematics, simple arithmetic, and then we'll compare. So until those figures are available, it will be premature to start saying that there will necessarily be an increase.
But that was Bode Shomi, an oil and gas expert, speaking earlier on the contentious issues on the Petroleum Industry Act. Moving on, the National Industrial Court, NIC, has adjourned till September 15 a suit instituted by the federal government against striking doctors under the aegis of National Association of Resident Doctors, NAD. The resident doctors began an indefinite strike on August 2 due to government's failure to meet most of their demands. Subsequently, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Grace Ngige, dragged the striking doctors to court over abdication of their responsibilities, and the NIC summoned the doctors to explain why the no work, no payroll should not be applied against them. In a briefing after the case was adjourned, President of NAD, Ilawa Ehatu Esui, appealed to Nigerians to bear with them, adding that the struggle for doctors' rights continues. A group under the aegis of Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination has called for the eradication of the current constitution ahead of the 2023 general election. Spokesman of the group, Don Pedro Obaseki, blamed the 1999 constitution for the current insecurity and other challenges facing the country, adding that the only way Nigeria can get true freedom is by ensuring that the current constitution does not serve as the basis of the conduct of the 2023 election.
The key to breaking the cycle of renewal of the life of the 1999 Constitution lies in knowing that only political parties contest elections, and all political parties in Nigeria ascribe to that evil 99 Constitution. And so, whichever party wins any election, that winner will swear to uphold and defend the 1999 Constitution. The key to taking down the 1999 Constitution is immediately halting the political parties from dragging us to another round of national elections in 2023. This is not a call to boycott the 2023 elections, but a call to halt the preparations.
The role the political parties in Nigeria have been playing since 1999 is that role of Judas goat, to lead us to slaughter once in 4 years in the name of elections, under which, by which people are going to assume power and pretend to be a democracy under a constitution that take all our assets, that reduce us to slaves in our land, was an apartheid constitution. And so we're telling them, we're inviting them to please even just listen, examine it, because the ones who are suffering from this, the ones who are being killed, whether it's in the Middle Belt or in the East or in the West, they are the ones calling them now to say, please, we can't go to renew the life of this constitution again in 2023.
Launched in 2018, GOKADA used to be one of the prominent ride-hailing companies in Lagos. In 2 years, the company had to pivot into delivery services to save it from closing down after the Lagos state government banned the operators of commercial motorcycling in the city. Within months of operation, the Indian-owned startup is now one of the competitive delivery service providers in Lagos. Our correspondent, Abisola Adibayo, has the story.
Once known as the biggest ride-hailing service provider in Lagos, GOKADA took a major detour in June 2020 when the Lagos state government placed the ban on the operations of commercial motorcycles and tricycles in major parts of the state. Instead of totally halting business and leaving thousands of their employees jobless, the Indian-owned startup decided to make the switch that was an unfamiliar territory at the time. The decision birthed GOKADA Logistics Company.
We cannot just close down the business because we also have assets, bikes, but at the same time at that time we had close to 1,000 riders we had on the road. If we leave, if we remove ourselves, that means we are leaving all those people without a job, right? They won't have any options to feed and all. So when the government put a ban, we were looking at options which are still open for us, which we can. So we got into the instant delivery space at that point. And from that time, in March, COVID happened across the period of across the world. So people were staying home. There was a huge requirement of essential services that need to be delivered.
Coincidentally, the GOKADA rebranding happened at a time when the COVID-19 lockdown was imposed nationwide in Nigeria, leaving a huge requirement for instant delivery services, exactly the need GOKADA could now meet conveniently. In just 15 months of operations, the startup now has one of the largest fleets of delivery riders in Lagos and empowers over 30,000 Nigerian businesses to help them serve their customers.
We delivered now. You want something to be picked up, and within the next few minutes, a few hours, you want it to be delivered without any hassle, right? It doesn't want to go to a hub, it doesn't want to go to anywhere. So we pick from your place and we deliver where you want it to be. That's what the niche we started off. Recently, we completed more than 1 million deliveries in Lagos, right? That was a huge achievement for us because when we didn't know where the business is going, and now we are looking back and now we know that, hey, we are actually trying to make a change.
The informal nature of delivery services, customers' paranoia, and other insufficiencies were the major challenges of the team at inception, but they soon overcame them with consistencies. In the past few months, the company has recorded exponential growth and recently launched its super app, which allows customers to access food delivery, e-commerce, and ride-hailing services all at once.
So then when the customers have this confidence that they're moving their goods via GOKADA, they know they are not going to get stuck. Their items are not going to get destroyed or lost or stolen. So all these things combined helped us place at a segment in a very different spot compared to any other of these informal players or other formal players. But as a customer, you don't want to have so many different apps on your phone, right? As a customer, what you want is how can we make your life easier? And that's what the idea was.
For now, the company has created a huge presence in Lagos, and it is looking to expand its services across other cities as well as improving on its services, among other future plans. Abisola Adibayo, TV360, Lagos.
Well, let's take a break here, but still to come, Taliban spokesperson hosts first press conference in Kabul. Details of this and more after the break. And let's take a recap of some of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari will on Thursday meet with security chiefs at the presidential villa in Abuja to review the security situation in the country. Special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, said President Buhari will be brought up to speed on development about the security situation in the country, while plans to bring a decisive end to the challenges will also be formulated during the meeting. We also told you that the National Industrial Court has adjourned till September 15 a suit instituted by the federal government against striking doctors under the aegis of National Association of Resident Doctors, NAD. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, has sued the doctors over abdication of their responsibilities after they began an indefinite strike on August 2 due to the government's failure to meet most of their demands. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are at TV360 Online. Nigeria has received 699,760 doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines donated to the country by the United Kingdom. This is the first batch of the 1.2 million expected from the UK government through the COVAX facility. The Executive Director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, Faisal Shuaib, said the vaccine would be administered a second dose to those that had earlier received only the first dose of the vaccine. On Monday, Nigeria flagged off the second phase of the COVID-19 vaccination with 4 million doses of Moderna vaccine received from the U.S. government. Meanwhile, the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Mojisola Adeyeye, has been sensitizing Nigerians on the safety of the COVID-19 vaccines. At the flag-off of the Phase 2 vaccination program in Abuja, Adeyeye said NAFDAC has conducted necessary checks on the vaccines to ensure it is suitable for use.
NAFDAC has been preparing for this for about a year now. So you can ask yourself, why should I take the vaccine? Because NAFDAC certified it. Why should I take the vaccine? Because NAFDAC has been working around the clock to ensure that the health of our people is premium in whatever we do. Why should I take the vaccine? Because NAFDAC is the only agency in the world that is using track and trace to monitor where each vaccine buyer goes.
On his part, the president of Afreximbank, Benedict Orama, while commending the federal government for its COVID-19 response, also highlighted the significance of vaccination to global recovery and pledged more support for Nigeria.
We all know that adequate vaccination of our population is the right economic recovery strategy. It is the key to reopening our economies and the key to return the economies to sustainable development. Similarly, we continue to mobilize donations of COVID-19 vaccines through various sources, including $700 million donation received from MasterCard Foundation and the $25 million donation received from the MTN Group. Nigeria and other participating states under the AVAT arrangement will start receiving the MasterCard Foundation and the MTN donations from November 2021.
We'll take a break here and return with more stories in business and the stock market review. Just stay with us. Well, up next is business news and stock market review with Mary Kanu. Over to you, Mary.
Thank you very much, Falashade. And in business, Nigeria's inflation rate slowed by 17.38% in July, the fourth consecutive decline in 2021. This is according to the Consumer Price Index report for July released by the National Bureau of Statistics on Tuesday. The Consumer Price Index, which measures the rate of change in prices of goods and services, moderated for the fourth consecutive time to 17.38% in July from 17.75% in June. Meanwhile, food inflation declined to 21.03% compared to 21.83% recorded in the previous month, while core inflation stood at 13.73% up 0.63% compared to 13.09% recorded in the previous month. And joining me now on the news to shed more light on this report by the NBS is Richard AKINMOLADUN, an economist. Thank you for joining us on the news. Now, Nigeria has recorded yet another decline in inflation rate. Did this come as a surprise to you, or was it expected?
Thank you for having me. So it comes as a surprise, and I know majority of people will be surprised that with the current situation we're having in the economy, with a rise in the prices of goods and services, that how come that inflation figures are coming at a lower rate compared to what we have last month. But we need to understand how the NBS has come about this figure. We look at this figure for the month of July that we just finished. That the figure came at 17.38, and this is due to base effect. What this means is that though there is increasing price of goods and services, but when you compare to what we have in the month of June, which came in at 17.75, that the increase we are seeing in July is not as it's at a slower pace compared to what was recorded in the month of June, and this is due to a base effect that I mentioned the other time.
All right. Well, now, do you project a further drop in inflationary pressures in the coming months?
So looking at the coming month, this base effect will continue to play. As you know that this same period last year, we experienced a lockdown in the economy. So when you compare the prices of food and services this time last year to this year, you continue to see this base effect in the price of goods. So we might see a downward trend in inflation in the month of August too.
Well, economist Richard AKINMOLADUN, thank you for breaking this down. Thank you for joining us on the news. Well, we'll take a break and return with a review of the stock market. Don't go away. The winning streak kicked off for investors on the second day of the trading week in the equities market as 24 billion naira was added to the market's total value, and the all-share index inched up 0.11% at the end of Tuesday's trading session. Now, the bull was called forth on the back of gains recorded by Dangote Cement and Honey Flour, as well as 16 other equities, to leave the market from losses recorded in the previous trading session. Now, the activity chart shows a reduction in the number of volume and deals, but an increase in value to put the market at over 3083 billion naira. Now, on the flip side, despite gains recorded, 14 other equities alongside Nestle and SCOA witnessed negative turnovers to top the losers chart. Now, moving on to the global market, in the UK, the FTSE has maintained a positive front, shrugging off fears of a Chinese slowdown, and is up 27.09 points to trade at 0.38%, while US stock benchmarks took a 350-point dive as weak retail sales data helped drive early declines. That's why Dow Jones is trading in the reds at 0.76%. Meanwhile, Japan's stock Nikkei index fell for a fourth session on Tuesday as concerns about the fast-spreading Delta variant overshadowed optimism around upbeat earnings, and it is also trading in the reds at 0.36%. Well, that's all on Stock Market Review. Falashade, it's back to you now for the rest of the news.
Well, thank you very much, Mary. Now, on the foreign scene, Taliban militants have held their first press conference 2 days after completing their takeover of Afghanistan. The group spokesman, Zabihullah Mujahid, says women will enjoy rights according to Sharia law, adding that there is an amnesty for all who have worked for foreign powers. It also wished for peaceful relations with other countries. Local reports say the streets of Kabul are quiet while militants are out in force manning checkpoints across the city. Well, up next is Entertainment Report.
Nigerian singer TIWA Savage has announced the release date of her album titled Water and Garri. The album is set to drop on Friday, 20th of August, with several international features and surprise records. In the artwork for the project, the award-winning singer presents a case of duality. In one picture, she is fierce, while she is calm in the other. Recall that the first announcement came through Kenyan internet comedian Elsa Majimbo after she created a short video on Saturday to announce the release date for preparing Water and Garri. TikToker KHABY, better known as KHABY, has become the first TikTok creator in Europe and the second in the world to hit 100 million followers. The 21-year-old Italian Senegalese became famous for calling out weird life acts, thought as meaningless with hilarious facial expressions without saying a word. Lame was laid off at work in 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic that hit the world. He then started creating funny videos on TikTok and became famous. Nollywood actor TIMINI has been called out by his former girlfriend Lydia Balogun for targeting and dating naive teenagers. In a series of tweets, the podcaster said TIMINI has become notorious for sleeping with anything that breathes. She went on to narrate how he intentionally found his way into her life and revealed that since their split, the actor has been on a mission to ruin her reputation. It will be recalled that TIMINI and Balogun made the headlines in 2020 after he was caught up in the cheating scandal. And that is all that we have for you on the entertainment segment of News Now.
Well, away from entertainment and now to sport, Aston Villa has confirmed the signing of Caleb Chukwuemeka from Northampton Town. The English midfielder of Nigerian origin has joined his brother Kani at Villa Park after completing a move for an undisclosed fee. Aston Villa Academy manager Mark Harrison expressed their delight to announce the signing on their official website, saying Chukwuemeka has been a player under their monitor for a while now and has continued to develop well at Northampton. The 19-year-old enjoyed a breakthrough season for the Cobblers during 2020-2021, making 28 appearances across all competitions. And it's a wrap on our news bulletin. Thank you for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.